Vanilla
back.
baby. I'll choke you, but I ain't no killer baby.
Whoa.
She 28 telling me I'm still a
All right,
baby.
copyright now. But anyways, let's see here. We've got three more movies that we want to talk to you guys about from our report card today. Let's.
These were like an okay bunch.
There's a good batch.
There
This
are
is a good
no
batch.
F's, y'all.
No F's in this one. No F's at all. But we're definitely going to get right into it here. So we were suggested to watch Waves. And I was just looking for suggestions from people, and we ended up getting this one. I think it's on Netflix, and definitely an interesting watch. Let's
Definitely.
get into the rating first, and then
This is kind of like a Life is Strange in a movie. Like, it's
that's what I'm
pretty
saying.
traumatic.
This
like,
pretty much is a Life is
it's
Strange
definitely
in a movie.
Waves.
Life is Strange, like the video game series.
It's also not okay. It definitely tells a story about waves and what can happen in someone's youthful life, pretty much. But and also like the parents as well. But
good title description.
Yeah.
Just from the title itself,
what I will say though is that for me, I don't know if I'm gonna sound bad. I just didn't care for them that much.
Damn.
I guess that's the only.
I felt a little bit different.
That's the only thing. Like, I felt bad for their circumstances, but did I ever feel for, like, there was not one character that I was just so heartbroken for. There wasn't. And you probably should, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I was kind of dreading watching this movie, guys, because of the runtime, y'all.
It was a longer movie.
2 hours and what, 13?
15 minutes.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
That is what kind of takes it down. But let's get into the rating. Ended up giving this movie a C.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
So C for Courage the Cowardly Dog. Just passing. Really, the first half was. Let's just say. The first half is much better than the second.
It's all
half
you
of
need.
This movie.
The first half is all you need to watch. After you get past an hour and 30 minutes, and you'll know exactly when that definitive moment happens. You can stop it right from there. Like it just doesn't need to keep going. I understand why they decided to have it keep going, but it just was dragging.
You do lose quite a bit of interest after the first half. The first half of the movie is strong. It's what really is the backbone of the C rating, but what really eliminates it is just kind of like interest was going down with the second half of the movie, and the length of the movie was really beginning to be felt with how long it was. But let's get into the things we actually liked about the movie. For me in particular, that middle section, which is like the backbone of it, it's pretty much the climax of the film, is halfway through the film, was pretty strong. You know, we had a pretty great reaction to it.
The first main protagonist is an athlete, y'all, so you know how he is with athletes. So that, ladies, you already know. Right.
What is this BS you're spilling?
No, guys,
right now we go from reviewing to just throwing shots.
No, but the main guy is an athlete, so it's just like
he's a wrestler. He
has a soft spot for him already, and I'm just thinking
this has nothing to do with the. Like, why are you bringing the personality into it? But yes, when it came to the main protagonist, he definitely had probably like the strongest. They gave him probably the strongest character for what he was doing, especially for how he had to like deal with what he was going through. A24 does know how to build up emotion in their main characters, because I feel like we were watching a demise of somewhat. Like we were watching it happen in real time.
We were watching a downfall, like an absolute downfall.
Like crash out, I guess is what you were saying. Like don't crash out.
And burn.
Crash. Oh well, yeah. I guess that's a term that people use now as crash out. You lose it all. You're just willing to do anything to get back to kind of what you did before or how you felt before, and that's kind of what he was going through here. But I would say that it was acted pretty well. Alexa Demi is in this. From Euphoria.
Maddie.
How do you think she did in this one? Let me ask you that.
I think this is gonna be controversial. I like Maddie. No, I don't think it's gonna be controversial. It's not gonna be controversial. But he kept saying they're getting them Euphoria girls out. I do not think so. I really do not, because
But they've all been in different projects.
But they've all been playing the same role though.
Really?
Alexis, right? Alexis Demi or
Alexa. She was playing Alexis in the film.
Alexa Demi, she does. Now, granted, I haven't seen every single project she's been in, so I will say I'm ignorant to majority of her projects. This is the second project I've ever seen her in. And like I said, I've never seen Euphoria either. But what I will say is that she does always have kind of a toxic man, and she's the girlfriend in it. And the same with Sydney Sweeney. They want her to be this hot blonde, like bombshell, that has these like toxic men around her as well. Like, it's kind of like their basis is kind of male centered, to where it's kind of like Alexis, I wish we could have maybe got to know her more, but it also wasn't her story. But he was just like, oh, they're getting out. But to me,
I mean, they've all been in things.
I'm just thinking like, but they have the same roles. That's why I haven't even like ever critiqued their acting or anything. Because first of all, I'm not an actress, one, and then two, it's also like they've played the same roles to me, to where it's like I haven't seen a bridge or a branch of doing something different than what we have originally seen them in Euphoria. But I think she was fine, but she played the exact same role it was in Euphoria. The Kirsten girl, the kind of like spicy Latina, the one who like bites back, you know, like it's the same role. So
it's understandable.
Yeah.
I think her name was Kat, the one who was doing the online dating stuff in the Euphoria show. She was in the Nope movie. Sydney Sweeney's been doing her thing. We're going to see her in quite a bit of things, because she's not just Madam Web and Anyone But You, but she also has Immaculate coming out as well. I think people have been saying good things about that. Zendaya, we all know it.
So yeah, just for me, a lot of the ladies have not really shown me a different aspect than what they have been originally casted for in Euphoria, which is like their, you know, their major roles. But in Waves entirely, I just feel like the reason why I feel like we did not like the second half is because the sister that is in the movie, she will be majority of the second half. So
She's
we can let
prominent.
you know.
It pretty much switches main character.
We can let you know that. But it's like, if you were going to have someone be the main second act, I kind of wish I got to know them a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
It's like you
were in my head. That's exactly what I was thinking.
It's kind of like you didn't even really like you did like twice at most.
She barely had any speaking lines in the first half
at all, and
then she completely takes over the second half.
I also think that they were trying to use that as in terms of she was kind of invisible or behind her brother,
and she has her own waves of emotion. That's pretty much the theme of this movie.
Yeah.
Why it was called. Like I said, the title describes the movie, how you feel during the movie, very well. We had waves of emotions. We don't really know how to feel about this guy. We don't know his actions. Now the sister's dealing with it, the dad's dealing with it, the mom's dealing with it. You know, we did feel for them, at least in the middle part of the film when things were going on, as well as Alexis, played by Alexa Demi. But like I said, it just kind of dragged itself as it was. Had you
but it is
I just wish it kind of ended like halfway through.
There was one question though that he had asked me during it. I won't repeat the question because you'll know, but before the second half gets started, he did ask me, what would you do if you were in that situation, if you were the mom, the dad, the sister, the different things. Granted, the sister's probably the easiest one to kind of say what you would do, but definitely for the parents, I'm like, I don't know in terms of what I would do. It does ask that question because I was like, I really don't know. Like, it is hard, and it does make you think whenever you think of the question that, like, what would you do in this scenario?
It's a tough one. Like I said, we've been playing Life is Strange 2 recently, so and we also like watching the Life is Strange gameplays from other YouTubers. So this felt exactly like one of those games, but it's a movie instead. And like, instead of like you making the decisions, it just happens, and it's not pretty at all. It's not a pretty watch. Like, how it builds up to the big kind of climactic action moment of the film, or not action moment, but really like turning point of the film. It feels like it was built up well for that, but after that point, you just don't feel as invested as you did right when all that happened. Because it felt like if you wanted to stop it there, it's like, damn, like that in itself is just like enough, more than enough. Actually, probably would have brought it up to an A in my opinion, but it stuck at a C just because of after that point it just never reached that anymore.
It was just too long. It was just, like I said, there was no reason for that movie to have been 2 hours and 15 minutes. Like, that movie basically ended, like I said, 1 hour and 15 in, and then they wanted to continue with the sister, which, like I said, I understood why, because it wants to give you a different perspective. But at that point, it might as well have ended, and you give us a second movie, maybe from her perspective, if you want to continue that. But also, who has money for that, the time, and the resources to do all that?
However, we want to definitely let people know, like, I can definitely see why people would really like this movie, because the emotional aspect is built within the characters. The family is acted very well. We love seeing a family who can actually act and feel real. The sister's doing her own thing, the son's doing his own thing, the dad feels stern, he's pushing him.
So for me, it's just like, to me, like, the dad was just really harsh, and I want everyone to realize in that is a lot of times how certain households are, to where it's always kind of like the mom being the caring one and kind of seeing the different aspects of things. Whereas, like he said earlier, the dad is very stern. It's hard to watch someone act like that because it just makes no sense in the moment. Like, with what happens to him and then like how you act after it, to me, it just seems kind of like tone deaf to act that way, but that is definitely how some people act. So I do commend A24 for showing those different things, because that is kind of the norm.
Yeah, it like they make moments, they make moments feel like almost like overexposed, like we're learning too much, because we do have another A24 movie that we will be reviewing anyways. So, and they also nailed it on trying to make you feel emotional with how the movie felt itself. But with this one, like we said, it's really the second half. Like, if the movie would have ended halfway through, it definitely would have been one of the stronger movies
and
that
then
gave
maybe
you
had like a time skip to like,
we were kind of waiting for a time
kind
skip.
of like I said, they really could have wrapped all of that up in a nice little time skip. You could have had the sister be the majority of the second half.
She just wasn't an interesting character,
because you didn't really introduce us to her.
Honest. She just wasn't. You I mean, like, you have
even in the climax of it, it's kind of like she was just there. Like, it's not really like we don't care. Like, we just know you're the sister.
Exactly. And that can sometimes bring it down. We know that you want to focus a lot on what was going on with the main character, with Tyler, but his sister's just like the second half. You have to make her character so much more interesting in the second half, to where you're like, wow, now I'm seeing what she's going through.
Sky, so overall, Waves, it is something that is worth a watch. Like I said, watch it with definitely understanding the timing of it and the runtime. If you want to watch the whole thing, amazing. She goes through her own waves as well. So, if that's something you're interested in, it's just like I said, it doesn't really compare to the first half. Yeah. And like I said, it's almost like maybe you should have done her first and then kind of maybe transition.
Nah, but then it probably wouldn't have.
But it would have been a little bit more intriguing.
Because you can write it from the perspective of like it's a time thing. Like, maybe it goes back in time to what the event happened and maybe before it.
But honestly, I feel like the mom's perspective might have even been a little bit better.
Exactly. We picked. Thank you. You actually again, you think like there's just the dad even, like, you picked the sister, and the sister she's the one we learned the least about in the beginning. So like, when you have her carry the second half, I get what A24 is trying to do, which is, this is life. We need to see the different family perspectives of it, and a brother and a sister. But we didn't really see them. I mean, there was a touching moment between them in the film, but
that was one of the two
but that's one of the only times she actually ever speaks, and she's like,
she really is like invisible
until the second half, and it is addressed and whatnot. But it's just kind of fine. It's passing, But I do understand why some people would really like it. And as always, we appreciate the suggestions, because it was nice to kind of see. Like I said, we like when families are acted well in movies, like when they feel like a real family, not just like, oh, we're just gonna throw these 4 actors that kind of look like the same color together and it's just gonna work. And it's like, no, like, it's like you have to have them act. The chemistry was pretty good, and I think there was an enjoyable time.
Besides the sister, well, I guess you did see chemistry.
Her second, just roasting it. Her second half was.
But I love the
passable.
actress. She is the one that was in Escape Room, the first and the second one.
So she got some range. Would you say she has some range? Okay, that's good. You know,
Alrighty, guys.
good acting all around. But let's move on to the next one.
Let's get into Millie Bobby
I was
Brown.
about to say,
Let's get into Millie.
Yeah, let's get into Miss Stranger Things, Miss 11.
So randomly at night, once again, we were eating, and we were like, hey, what should we put on? Like, you know, like we were just thinking, you know, I was like, might as well watch Millie. Like, I mean, if we don't, hey, like I said, we always give everything vanilla, but so it's just like. We're always like, we're going to give a movie at least 20 or 30 minutes. Let's just see how it is. We don't want to waste our time. I hadn't really heard anything horrible about Damsel. Had I heard anything great? No. But I was just like, okay, it might just be like one of those mid movies. So the rating for it is mid as well. It is a C.
That's so funny. You went right into it. It is a C passing, just passing.
I really do enjoy Millie. Like, I think she is a very phenomenal actress to me because I've seen her do different things in different range, and we've clearly seen her grow up on the screen.
This was still enjoyable. You know, like we're so used to seeing her in I know she's done other projects, but it's just that none of those projects has attracted our attention enough.
And guys, why does every single one of her characters always start with the E? Enola, LOD, L11. Everything is an E.
Maybe it's written in her contract. But anyways, we just wanted to when it came to this movie, this was finally a movie that we both were like, hey, this is interesting enough for us to watch that has her in it. We still enjoyed ourselves. Like, this was still it's a good take on the damsel in distress, hence the name of, you know, like
Damsel.
Damsel, of a woman having to be saved by a man. Instead, this time she has to really save herself in a very precarious situation back in the Renaissance times. And you already know, you guys, people getting sold off and kingdoms, you know, just trying to be powerful, all that type of stuff. That is all the classic fairy tale trope type of
guys,
stuff.
I do not like medieval things. Like, I hate stuff back when you were sold off, like, you know, literally to your suitor or whatever, especially because back then melanin people, we were not around, and if we were, it wasn't for good reasons. And it was like, at first when we were watching it, I was like, oh god, like, what is this gonna be? Because I really didn't know, but I was like, okay, but she looks like kind of badass in the screenplay, so I'm like, it must be something where she has to fight.
We did go into this one with an open mind, we'll say that. I think that did help the rating. We kind of just didn't know what to expect. Also, Angela Bassett's in here, but she's really not in here. She's kind of like, I mean, Angela Bassett's great, nonetheless. Like, she plays any role effortlessly. She makes it very easy. She can blend into anything. It's just that she didn't really... There
are some continuity errors, but
it's just that she was okay. You know, like, she was just here. It's not like she did anything that was like significant towards the film. It's really Millie's show.
One big thing though that was that probably gave it, because it had pretty bad ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was shocked by that.
Yeah, but Rotten Tomatoes.
They're different. But what I will say is that it was, at the very end, it did seem like they were like, let's hurry up and rush it and end it. Like, it was kind of one of those things, because basically there's a point where, you know, Millie is doing very well, and, you know, you almost kind of sense, you know, a little bit of freedom, but it's kind of like at the end they're like, oh, let's just hurry up and kind of rush it so that it can hurry up and end. And then you have her with random makeup at times, and it's kind of just like, I don't really know, but I will give a huge shout out to the voice of the dragon, because she was a very
the reveal,
a sultry voice.
Oh, you want to give a shout out to Shorwe Agladashu, to our best pronunciation.
I love how he just added a whole other A. I said Miss Agdashlu, and he go Agadash. What?
Wow.
What's going on?
We do not mean to offend anybody, but she did a great job as the voice of the dragon. You know, having a dragon in a movie is one thing, because that's already like intimidating, but having a talking dragon is even more so intimidating. Guys,
dragons are so scary. Like, how people literally, I think it's How to Train Your Dragon made y'all delusional. I am petrified of dragons. I haven't seen any of them, and I am petrified of dragons. Like, that is so scary to me. The fire, like, and even in Sucker Punch, I know everyone hated that movie, but literally...
Was the dragon in here done well? Because I feel like it looked very realistic and very scary, actually, like most of the time.
She was a little slow. You
mean in the head, or like her movements?
In the head.
Oh, okay.
She, you know, like I said, we go in there with the open mind, because we're not, I know one Rotten Tomatoes critic was literally talking about, if you think this is the next Game of Thrones, you're sadly mistaken.
Okay, we weren't expecting Game of Thrones.
That's what I'm saying. I don't
expect
anything. And plus, haven't you guys ragged on Game of Thrones a lot? So it's like, So you're saying go in there with a horrible
Look,
ending
I got
mindset?
no comments on it. All I know is them niggas did not like the last season at all.
I just, like I said, I felt like Damsel was good. It was something, once again, one of those times where it's like, hey, you're hungry, you can put this on. Like I said, give it 20, 30 minutes. You'll get to the crux of it and you'll see, hey, do you want to continue? Do you not?
It's like it's just like a nice spin on a fairy tale, and like this is creative. Like it kind of reminds me of how I felt with like Wish. Like, you know, it's fairy tale stuff, but you know it's done in a different way that's creative, and it gets you engaged just enough, but it doesn't do anything that like massively blows you away. But like Millie shows up and she does her thing. She can act, you know, in her sleep. You know, she makes this look easy, how she kind of becomes this action hero. And we do like, if you're going to have a character progress and have some like development done well with them, at least have the movie kind of fast pace itself too, so like it doesn't make it feel like she's trapped the entire film. Like she actually does find her way through the actual mountain or the cave or wherever she is pretty well. So I'd say it's pretty nice.
Yeah, and her family, family had their warnings, and I do know that a big aspect of why people did not like it, because they were saying, because obviously if you guys watch it, you'll see, okay, spoiler coming up, y'all, because I have to say this.
Spoiler.
Okay, spoiler coming in 3, 2, 1. A lot of people in the comments, as well as like just other critics and reviewers, were definitely saying that the fact that they think it's okay for royalty to be killed, even though like that's something a man did way back then, like whenever they killed the dragons or whatever. And they were just saying like, oh my god, just because they're basically making, like, Millie and the dragon are basically making it seem like it's, oh, like you killed innocent girls, but no matter what, they would have been killing innocent girls because they're not of actual royal blood. And so to me, I'm like, I can understand where you're coming from. Like, I see that, but at the end of the day, you are still killing innocent women.
Yep.
To me, because they are not of royal blood. They're just finding random people. But they gagged me in one of the comments because they were literally like, why not just find 3 random girls from the village and throw them in the pit? Like, why go through this whole wedding ceremony? No one has questioned this. So
because the dragon can smell the blood. The dragon can smell the blood of the people on them.
But that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you mean like them grabbing an actual just random girl
and just
doing the ritual
and throwing them down there. And that's why it's like, you're absolutely right, because, and then also, like they said, no one in the town is going to be talking about how his wives are never around and how he has a new one.
Throw them in there. That really was a good turn.
And also they said, how often do they do this? Because they're like, is it every 3 years? Is it every year? Is it every couple of months? I have no idea. So they're like, that kind of was lacking, but no matter what with the whole royal thing, I'm like, no, but at the end of the day, guess what? Royal blood decided to come down there and desecrate her property, her kids, and then you decide all of a sudden now, like, oh, like, we'll give you our blood, each year. And it's just kind of like, but then you're taking these random girls and just killing them for no reason. They had some brutal deaths.
Yeah, some very brutal deaths. And overall, I would say that it was like I said, it was finely paced. I feel like how Millie was like trying to escape, and like her kind of finding out the past of these other princesses kind of gave some Black Phone vibes. So if you like Black Phone, there's some elements of that in here too. Very little, but it's just a point to make that they're in here. Yeah, I'm just you kill me. I just be getting on to me about.
But guys, I feel like it was worth the watch. We gave it a C. Like I said, it definitely does pass. Like I said, I just feel like sometimes, just like how people probably think we go into movies with such high expectations, and they're like, I wouldn't expect all that from these people, or I wouldn't expect all this from this writer. Things like that. It's also like, that's kind of how we are with certain things too. Like in Damsel, we weren't expecting this phenomenal story to where it was just like,
we're not expecting to be blown away by this fairy tale told differently.
Yeah.
It is a dragon story.
I wasn't going in there thinking it's going to be phenomenal, like how people loved Game of Thrones. I'm not going in like that. First of all, I never go in with a comparison mode. I always go into a movie, like I said, not comparing it to anything. Let me just see it for what its face value is. Only time you should probably ever compare it is probably if it's like a sequel to something, or if it's a remake, maybe.
That's the only time.
It's kind of like, because you can't, how could you not compare it to the original, or to a, you can't really. And plus, with a sequel, you're gonna be like, okay, this has to continue the first original story.
But with this story, it is the same as like other category movies that like take the fairy tale trope and they give you a different perspective on it. This one was done just fine. Nothing that blows your socks off, but definitely nothing that will put you to sleep or have you scratching your head because of like too many bad inconsistencies. It's pretty straightforward. Like we said, it is the Renaissance era. It's messed up stuff is happening all the time then.
And stuff,
so
plot's got a plot.
Plot's got a plot. She does have plot armor.
She has some strong plot armor.
But she's strong. She's strong now. She carries her own. She carries her own in this film. We like to see Millie do her thing. But yeah, wanted to get to that.
Now to...
Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. Let's get into it.
Now to our last movie. I don't have much to say on this.
Stop lying.
I don't.
Stop lying.
This is a very depressing movie.
Don't say depressing.
It's very sad.
It's very realistic, but also just brutal.
Heartbreaking.
Let's get into it. It is Past Lives from the studio. Yes, once again, A24. So we got another A24 movie here.
Guys, I never wanted to watch this movie because I already know I was going to be crying throughout it. I don't like feeling sad, and I'm a crybaby. Did you feel sad in this one? I felt mortified. I cried.
Did you cry in
4 times?
4 times in this film.
3 or 4.
I did shed some tears at the very ending of the film. Let's just get into the meat and potatoes of what the film actually is. It is a love story that is told in one of the most beautiful ways we've probably ever seen told. I mean, it's really well portrayed by the actors that are in this. But let's get into kind of how they were. It's like a childhood, quick love story, and then one of them has to move away, and as the years become decades, they finally get a chance to meet each other again, and it just feels
W husband.
Yes, W husband. It just feels so alive. Like, it feels real. It feels like there's so many times I was telling Chris when I was watching this, I was like, it feels like we shouldn't be hearing these conversations, seeing these nosy, so happen.
I wanted to see it.
It just feels like how it's shot feels invasive of the lives of these people who were separated as children, and they never really got a chance to explore what their time together would kind of be like. So they get chances to explore that as via some old school technology of the Skype on their computers and just talking. It
does take you back down memory lane. I think that's what gets you the most, because it does take you down memory lane. Like, it's Skype, it's Facebook, how it used to be. It's the old buttons of it, like certain things that don't even exist anymore on those platforms, and the disconnect and it's and amazing.
Time progresses well. It every kind of section, because the film really is broken up into 3 acts.
Because this, y'all, once again, is a 2-hour movie.
But every minute of it felt.
But it was not dragging like waves.
No, every minute of it, we were just so curious, what's gonna happen next, and we usually don't feel as often like that during movies like these. But this just felt like it's building towards something.
I wanted to turn it off.
Look at you. You're just so mad that I suggested it, but also very happy because, man, did it feel like something. I mean, it just felt like such a great experiment of a film to get to know how these 2 people who hadn't seen each other in such a long time could feel about each other now.
Yeah, come back together.
And how it affects a marriage. Let's get into the marriage part,
Yeah, the marriage.
You like the husband?
The husband was hideous. My God.
Okay, not how he looked.
Anyways, I'm gonna just go ahead.
Going straight to how the man looked.
The husband was hideous, but that's her cup of tea. So if she likes it, hey, I love it. And he was a very, very well spoken and a very he was so well spoken in terms of how he felt in it, to where he wasn't. Oh my gosh, so many men can take a lesson from that, because it's how he could. See, look, cause I'm gonna cry now.
But let me tell you, it's just like being there for someone when they really need you to be, in probably the most revealing moments of your life, moments that you really don't expect. Because definitely she did not expect to see this man again that she hadn't seen in such a long time. So you move on with your life and you go on to the next portion of your life. But the whole concept of past lives is what she describes in the film as you meet somebody that you probably have met before, and you will meet again in this life and the next one, and it just feels almost eternal. But maybe this isn't the type of, timeline or steps in your lives where you're together, and it hurts because it's almost like there's a part of her. It's not just like love, it's also just like a reminder of who she used to be when she was a kid. Are they in Korea? I forget.
Yeah.
Okay, they're in Korea, in Seoul. Yes, in Seoul, Korea. So when they're there as kids and she moves, she goes to New York, and then when they get to meet each other again, it's been so long. So when
they didn't show the rats.
So when she meets him again and they spend time, it's like that reminds me of a bit of who I used to be, and it was taken away from me when I was so young. So when I'm with this person, I do feel like my most authentic self. It also shows the struggles of interracial relationships, of somebody
and
having
too.
And immigration as well. It tackles a lot of things in such a like raw and kind of naked way. Like I said, it just feels like the conversations that were had in this movie were mature. They were bare bones. They expose a lot of what the human experience is, like feeling love for someone, feeling appreciation for someone, what they do for you, how they are, even if they are miles away or if they are right near you, feeling distant. There's just so much that's tackled in here. And even when they're not talking, there's just scenes of them together, the main two actors, and it just feels so alive and loving. And it's shot well too, like how the couples were in the background sometimes when they be hanging out. Good, nice little subtle hints that show what is felt but what is not said. And that ending is to cry for. Like, that's really what got me. Like, not a single word was said in the last a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes of the film, but it doesn't have to be. It speaks for itself for how beautiful of a film that it is. Would we like to reveal the rating? We didn't even give out the rating yet.
Yeah, I let him write this because I said I can't give it this rating because it's too sad.
Oh my goodness, look at it. It's too sad.
I can never watch this again.
I ended up giving this a solid S. So we have had a good batch of
S
of
for
films
sad.
Here. S for sorrow. Because like I said, get your tissues. We've been putting this one off because we knew it was sad. But damn, this is like, man, I mean, but this is why I really do like A24, because they do know how to tell a good human experience story. Like, this does make you wonder, not like loving two people at the same time in like a selfish way, but feeling immense love for two people at the same time, balancing it, what it does to you, how you carry it, and making just some of the toughest decisions you can in your life as you just grow up and get older. So, beautiful film here. Very beautiful film. Hold on, can we give our flowers to Greta Lee and Teo Yu? Unbelievable together. And then John Magaro. He's Arthur. He's the husband. I think he almost stole the show in some scenes. I mean,
with his appearance, absolutely.
Wow, just roasting him. But you see, she has to make herself laugh, or else she's gonna cry, because it is a sad.
Just
movie.
To keep from crying, I laugh.
Exactly. Like I said, beautiful
Don't
movie.
You?
We're describing the movie, but when we tell you that you have to, like, experience it, like, watch it and experience it.
Look at the poster; they already look like they're madly in love.
Exactly. They
look like that throughout the entire movie.
Just the looks. It is a beautiful, beautiful film. So we just wanted to let you guys know that this was definitely a top tier experience that we had watching this film. We appreciate the suggestions for people that have told us what to watch or said some suggestions for it.
Please, no more sad things.
Yeah, no more sad movies.
Waves and Past Lives is enough.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot to go through. That was a lot. I mean, we definitely cried in one. We did not cry during Waves, but we did cry during Past Lives. And we probably will never watch Past Lives again because it is a...
unless I just want to cry.
Yeah,
that's
unless you really need a good cry. I mean, hey.
That's actually a challenge. You know what? I challenge you to watch it and not cry.
Honestly,
that's
that is a tough
challenge.
one because I thought I was going to make it. I thought I was going to make it the whole thing, but that ending, man, that ending is just, oh my goodness. I mean, you just want to give the person that you're next to a hug and just tell them it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right.
Or run into a closet and cry.
Any more thoughts on any of these movies that we had?
Never watch Past
Oh my
Lives
goodness.
unless you want to cry. Damsel is a good watch, while you're eating, and turn off Waves halfway through.
Wow.
That's how it goes.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That's how
I
it
like that. I
goes.
like that. Take those little tips away from there. And
Waves is heart-wrenching too. It's just in a different aspect. Past Lives is just depressing. So, S for sorrow.
but yeah, as always, we want you guys to give us suggestions in the future. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. And we will see you guys next time.
Vanilla baby.